Possible plus run with 10 instability, playing a monk that heavily focuses on Shii. So I'll be sharing the strategies involved during this run. We begin with picking our poison. Feel free to skip this section if you're not playing on Impossible Plus. This is my instability setup. Most of these are easy punishments to suffer. In particular, One for All is a fantastic punishment to take because Shii doesn't benefit from vulnerable, so you won't trigger this punishment often. In return, you'll add a modest amount of instability. On the flip side, there are some devastating punishments you should avoid. Original Sin is particularly awful. Those voids will disrupt combos and potentially deny your ability to enter Zen mode. Void Stones are crucial to improving your damage output. Shii builds typically feature cards that trigger multiple times, such as your Stability Starter card. Thus you can get lots of mileage from starting off with a Void Stone. And finally, Shii heavy decks tend to struggle with solo bosses, since the Shii overflow when an enemy dies is irrelevant. The final battle with the Void is incredibly challenging. Your best bet at damaging it could very well be the souls you accumulate throughout the vault. The game plan for Shii builds involves playing lots of attacks and ending battles as quickly as possible. There's not much space in our deck for block cards, and our options for weakening or slowing enemies are limited compared to other classes. You can see from the summary screen here that the imperfect battles were those that I failed to finish quickly enough. It is also no coincidence that they were all solo enemy battles. The Shii build really struggles against those. As we delve into the dungeon, our primary objective is to ramp up our damage. We can cope with the first couple of battles, but thereafter we'll need to replace our starting cards. I like to delete 2 repeating deflections right off the bat, because having slightly more attack cards in our deck increases our damage output early on. We also start replacing our starter stabilities with attacks that inflict more Shii, then upgrade and socket those cards to stay ahead of the difficulty curve. Here, I'm roughly halfway through the first floor, and I've already picked up Trance, Wave of Focus, and a Ghosted Spirit Essence, all upgraded. I've also Combination Strike, as well as a Stability with a blue gem to draw into these powerful attacks. Unfortunately for us, Shii doesn't scale as well as other forms of damage because it doesn't benefit much from force multipliers such as vulnerable. To compensate for this, we need to saturate our deck with quality Shii attacks and have the energy to play them. Thus, energy management is low-key the cornerstone to playing this class well. Our primary means of conserving energy is getting into Zen mode, which works well in the early game, but as we pick up more 2-cost and 3-cost cards, we have to keep up our energy generation and conservation. Obvious sources include Foresight from cards like Clarity and Overcharge from purple gems. Even better, put them both together on the same card. But we didn't have the luxury this game. Instead, I'll showcase a subtle energy workhorse in the Shii build. Spirit Essence. This card is phenomenal. I can't overstate this. Having an energy conserving mechanic tacked onto an attack card means we are not sacrificing damage output by slotting this in our deck. The energy conservation is incredibly flexible when upgraded. When played in Zen mode, we gain 1 energy. When played outside of Zen mode, the chain 1 means we are playing 1 fewer attack card outside of Zen mode, which effectively conserves 1 energy. This is a prime candidate for socketing a black gem, effectively doubling the damage output and energy gain. It is also a prime candidate for card cloning, which I did this run. As an aside, a couple of small tactics here. playing Discipline here gets me into Zen mode and gives me Rage. And then I use a blue gemmed stability to draw into Spirit Essence. That just made quick work of the Skeleton King. Another fun trick with Spirit Essence, targeting it with your starter spell. Among all the classes, this is probably the trickiest starter spell to wield effectively. But here's the combo. You get into Zen mode by playing Spirit Essence plus another attack card, preferably an opener. In this instance here, my opener is Gaining Momentum, which is a Future Strike attack that gives Rage when played as an opener. Having entered Zen mode, we hit the big blue button and use both parts of our spell to great effect. The Rage compounds our damage output, and the Vision is used to recur the Spirit Essence we just played. This sets up our next turn for success, because Spirit Essence does everything you need. It deals good damage, it gives you energy, and it gets you into Zen mode easily. This battle also illustrates how the Shii heavy build need not pay too much attention to spreading damage in multi-enemy battles, because of how Shii inherently overflows when an enemy dies. If there's an enemy that fills the progress bar to 100%, you pile all your Shii on it. Otherwise, like in this case, you roughly spread your Shii across 2 enemies and let the Shii overflow handle the rest. There are a couple of exceptions to this, one of which is the Mosquito Battle. The Mosquito Battle is a possible Floor 2 boss and features a central blood hive surrounded by 2 minions. I've been waxing lyrical about Spirit Essence this whole video. Well, with cards like Imprint that duplicate your cards, what better target can you find? That's one of the few ways you can ramp up your damage playing the Shii build. Duplicating your damage cards obviously multiplies your damage output, so long as you can afford the energy cost, which is hardly an issue when the card in question is Spirit Essence. Killing the Blood Hive results in instant victory, so you'd think the strategy is to pile all your Shii on it. However, the passive ability of the Blood Hive buffs the minions whenever you attack it. So the trick here, counterintuitive as it is to focus on the minions. The Shii heavy build is uniquely positioned to excel at this, because with each minion you kill, Shii overflows to the Blood Hive. The minions are quite frail too. You won't have too much trouble with splatting at least 1 per turn. Thus, you are passively making progress on the Blood Hive while limiting the incoming threat by killing minions before they attack. My card play wasn't exactly optimal here. You generally want your future strikes to go on the Blood Hive so that it accumulates fatigue. But I forgot I was running Mix Up, which is a future strike card that triggers an extra time if the target has no future strike on it. When I played that card, the Blood Hive already had future strike, therefore I did not get the most damage out of it. Nonetheless, it was enough to bring the Blood Hive down to critical health. This is where we close out the battle by targeting down the Blood Hive, ending the suffering once and for all. With that, we'll jump straight into the battle against the Void, since I've been rambling on long enough in this video. While we square off, let's talk about a contentious topic. How much future strike does a Shii heavy build need? Future Strike inflicts fatigue, which is a force multiplier for Shii. As it turns out, however, it is a relatively weak multiplier. In the best case, where your card reads deal 4 Shii, each point of fatigue adds 25% to that, so it's on par with 25% rage at best. At worst, with our workhorse card Spirit Essence, which reads deal 13 Shii, each point of fatigue adds less than 8% to your damage output. Given these mediocre numbers, I'd say we should not go out of our way to ensure Future Strike triggers every even round. Rather, Future Strike cards should only be considered if they provide some other benefit that your deck presently needs. A great example is gaining momentum. I don't have many sources of rage, since there isn't a single Shii attack that also gives rage. So gaining momentum plugs that gap in my deck. Another example is Swift Kick. It's a zero cost attack which helps with chaining into Zen on turns where I start with low energy. Ultimately, I feel that while fatigue helps with damage output, it's more important to focus on more substantial force multipliers. Your energy management, your rage, as well as card duplication. And hopefully through this video, you've seen examples of these force multipliers in action and can find a way to work them into your Shii builds. Big shoutouts to HG Rose and Roger on Discord for inspiring me on this path to enlightenment. It is quickly becoming one of, if not my favorite class to play. As usual, feedback and suggestions are welcome. Do leave them in the comments section. Thanks for watching and have a great day.